Okay, well, good evening, everybody. Lovely to have you all here tonight, and thank you so much for coming. I was really surprised, I must say, at how many replies we got for a book about weeds, although I do completely understand. I think it is a wonderful thing, and I love the idea of using uncultivated food, getting food off the pavements, just in our everyday lives. So welcome to Nikki Brighton, the effervescent, ebullient Nikki Brighton, who I know has been talking up an absolute storm in Joburg over the last few days, but I think she's got a lot to say still. Absolutely lovely to have you here tonight. Thank you so much, Nikki. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who she is. She describes herself as a locavore. And I didn't know what that was. It is someone who knows the source of everything they eat. So I found a quote from Nikki which says, "I don't eat a carrot without being able to say thank you directly to the farmer." So Nikki, I wanted to say that you could drink the wine here quite happily, Justenberg. It's made by my brother-in-law's family. You can go and chat to him if you like. And it's also all organic and regenerative farming and the whole thing. So I thought I'd just pop that in. Nikki also calls herself a freelance writer, an inspirational speaker, a foraging expert, a wild caterer, a content creator, an event organizer, a culture disruptor, and an activist. And of course, she's very busy. She does all of those things. She's also the author of the two books that we're launching and speaking about tonight, Wild About Weeds and the smaller one, which is Edible Weeds, and they're both for sale up there. She lives in KZN, and you can find her on Instagram at Plant Abundance, which I suggest you go and follow. Thank you so much, and over to you, Nikki.
Thank you, Kate. When I was little, a lot littler than today, I professed a love of weeds that never went away. When I grow up, I did declare, my garden shall be full of dandelion yellow and chickweed stars and trifoliate oxalis as well. Oh no, my aunt said with concern, no one will want to visit you, but funnily enough, my friends often come to feast on wild green stew. So that's a true story. When I was little, I really did love all the flowers in the garden, that, but I mean, I didn't realize I was going to turn into the wild weeds woman when I grew up. But she said to me, no one will visit you if you want to have these plants in your garden, which is really dreadful. I mean, crazy to say that to a little person. And they really are pretty. And now that I'm big, I can't really understand why people don't want to have these things in their garden. And if you come on a forage with me, I think quickly you will realize you do want to have some of these things. This just feels as if I'm craning my neck a little bit, Stuart. It's like I'm craning my neck. Could I have it down a little bit? Yeah, thank you. Sorry to interrupt. It just feels like a little bit like, yeah, that is better, yes. Thank you very much. Okay. So somebody just before was asking me, of course, the first thing everyone wants to know is, how did you start doing this? What is the motivation for this? And the thing that I think is the most important thing to me is I've realized that people are concerned about their own health and the health of the planet. They really are. And so I'm just trying to remind people of, or like unearth the forgotten knowledge to heal people, and I think in the end we'll be able to heal the planet, because the most important thing we've lost is community. We've really, really lost our community, and you're not going to achieve anything unless you have a strong community. And I think because we eat all the time, if we pay attention to our food, that's a very clever way of building community. I'm sure some of you are vegetarian or vegan, and then you would definitely know that the best way of getting anyone to eat less meat is to feed them fabulous food. Then but otherwise they'll be like, oh no, hell no, we can't do this. But so in a positive way. So because we eat two or three times a day, if you pay attention to the food, and as I said, I'm a locavore, so if you know the farmer, if you know the person who grew your carrot, you treat it with much more reverence than you would if you just buy it from Woolworths. And the supermarkets are very, very good at disconnecting you from your food. So it's very hard to recognize that a lamb chop was ever a little sheep gambling in a field, or even some people don't really know what carrots look like with that big green frothy bit on top, that is just as nutritious as the orange part. The green part is fabulous food as well. And so they're very good at disconnecting us. And so I think if you start connecting back to your food, first of all, you know your farmer. And in Johannesburg, you've got masses of small-scale farmers. There are 2,000 farmers in Soweto. It's just incredible. There are farmers everywhere, in the inner city, out towards Pretoria. I've just met so many farmers that I know, and their little veg boxes and things. So it's very easy to build your connection. And then, of course, when you know the farmer, you can actually look at them and say, what did you feed your chickens? If whether you want to eat those eggs or not. So I think then you've got this new community with the farmer, and then you also build your community with everybody else who also buys from that farmer. So suddenly you've got a whole tribe of people who care about what the chicken ate before they eat the eggs. And then foraging just kind of takes things to a completely new level, because if you're wandering around up and down your road picking things, people are curious and they do stop and ask you what on earth you're doing. And I think in Joburg, often you don't know your neighbors. You are very isolated with those big walls. It seems almost everybody has a big wall. I haven't seen any low things anywhere, actually, not even in the suburb, far out. And so if you're doing that, then you'll meet somebody, and you'll meet a little old lady with her funny little dog, and she will say, I remember when my mother took me to Port Shepstone on holiday, and we were in the caravan park, and she rushed out excitedly, and she picked all these greens, and we thought she was crazy. And everybody just starts these conversations. It's just delightful, absolutely delightful. So I'm not going to tell you that you must change your diet and you must just start eating weeds all the time. But I'd certainly think you can add a few quite easily. Look at all these that we just collected now. Kate brought some from her garden. I just went for a walk up the road here. I went in the little empty space over there. There's masses of food. We could have made a salad for you all, but we didn't. It takes a lot of work. It's quick to forage and it's fun to forage, but then to prepare the food and to make the little salad, because you want to pick off all the nice leaves and rinse it and make it pretty. It does take absolute ages. So we didn't do that for you. But one day I think I'll come back. The people I was foraging with yesterday were all like, come and do lunch, Nikki, we want to come to lunch. So I'm coming back in February, maybe I'll do a lunch then. So I do foraging walks where I teach people, or just actually plant some seeds in their brain, although sometimes I can see the light bulbs virtually popping in their head when they realize that the things they've been ripping out of the garden are quite delicious. There's such surprising things that you really dislike, actively dislike, like blackjacks. People really dislike blackjacks. Does anybody love blackjacks by any chance? Just in case. Well, the curious thing is, in Vietnam, blackjacks are grown as a crop. They're grown in fields, and they harvest them and sell them in bunches at the market. So you learn from different cultures. It's just incredible. So many of the things that we dismiss in other cultures, they are valued. So I think that's a very good way of learning. What else should I say about foraging? And, I'm also, besides a locavore, I'm an invasivore. An invasivore means I eat invasive plants. So most of these are invasive. And so you may just be actually helping by eating them. I do agree that we don't really want our worlds invaded with bugweed and castor oil plant, and they are destroying the grasslands, and, that's not really so cool. But these things are already here. They are all around us. There is no ways you are getting rid of dandelions. Absolutely no way. Or fleabane, or any of these things here. I think it's virtually impossible unless you use major herbicides, and then they're just going to pop right back up, because the role of the weeds is to heal the earth. You won't find any weeds where there are no humans. They follow the humans, because what do we do best? We disrupt, we disturb things, we compact the ground. And so then they come, you'll find a lot of these weeds have very long tap roots. And those tap roots are decompacting the soil, creating little pathways for the microorganisms to move, for the water, for the air, and all that sort of thing. So they are doing that work. And then you come along, so they've been working like Trojans, and then just rip it out and throw it away. And that's really crazy, because then it's just going to have to start all over again and do more work. So it seems a bit unfair. So if you really, really, really want a sort of a sculptural look and you don't want blackjack growing through everything, then I suggest just cut it off at the base, right at the base, and keep that top bit as a mulch right there. So the roots will decompose in the soil and keep doing their work, building soil, and the bit on top will be mulch, because that's exactly what it's trying to do. It's trying to suck up the minerals that are very, very low and bring them to the surface. So if you just take that away, even if you put it in your compost heap, it is away. It wanted to be there, because if you look around your garden, different patches will have completely different weeds. You won't have the same thing everywhere. Even here, I've seen different weeds to what I saw at Wits this morning. And I don't think that's very far away from you, is it? Yeah. So there was masses and masses of shepherd's purse with the little heart-shaped seeds, which is just adorable. And here there's completely different things. There's masses of a sort of a rocket wild mustard thing all over this field here. It's very interesting. So they really do tell you what the soil needs. And I know some farmers actually use them as a diagnostic tool to say, oh, look, there's a lot, I'm making this up, there's a lot of blackjack here, that means we've got no manganese or potassium, So then they go, of course, to the shop and buy a big sack of manganese and tip it all over everything. Meanwhile, that blackjack was trying to do that job. But they do use the weeds to determine what they need. And I think if you watch your garden, if you do leave it and you watch it, you'll see this year you'll have just a field of blackjacks. Next year, it'll evolve. It'll be fleabane, the tall, furry leaves with the fluffy seed heads, and then it'll keep evolving. I mean, every season it'll be slightly different, and I don't know what it'll eventually turn into. And I've got patches of my garden that I am experimenting with just to see what happens. And I find it quite sad, because if I don't mow it or cut it back at all, the vigorous things grow, and then the little things that I love, like the little oxalis or the little pepperweed, they don't have a chance. So, then I almost manage it so that I can get some of the other weeds that I like, so I cut it back in some places. Yeah. So really, just nibbling a few things every day is going to make an enormous impact on your diet. I think we all accept our diets are impoverished. There are no micronutrients. I mean, lettuce is all hydroponically grown. The soils haven't got the nutrients anymore. So, where's the plants going to get the things from? So if you're just eating wild-grown things that are naturally mining minerals, you've got to be adding all sorts to your diet. A little bit of selenium here and a stack of vitamin A over there. Blackjack's great for vitamin A, by the way. And, so I think just nibble a few, and it's not going to do you any harm at all. It can only improve your diet. And even if you don't care about yourself, which is quite important, that you don't care too much about yourself, think about the pollinators. I think we all recognize that the pollinators are in proper trouble now. There's no doubt about it. In Europe, it's just in a very short time, it's dropped by 70%. The insect populations. It's really, really scary. And so in South Africa, we've got a huge biodiversity. So I think we're not noticing quite as much. Where in Europe, it's terrifying for them. But we've just had so much diversity that it's maybe not so obvious. But we really do have to pay attention. And in places where it's quite compromised, like inner cities, where there's not a lot of vegetation, the weeds actually provide a little bridge almost in a difficult season. At the moment, the things that are flowering the most are, as you can see, the sow thistle, the little yellow ones. What other weeds? There's still a bit of clover flowering. There's a lot of plantain flowering. There's all the little, the heart-shaped shepherd's purse that I mentioned earlier. And so those things just provide a bridge. So I was sort of thinking, what if the plants, the butterfly wanted to get from Melville Koppies to the wilds or down to Emmarentia Dam, and in between is just roads and concrete. If a few people there just had a bit of wildness, so the hop wasn't so far. I'm just saying this place because I don't know anything about Joburg, and they all seem like they're in Joburg to me. So, they have to hop, but maybe they can't fly 3 kilometers. Maybe they can only go 1 kilometer, and then they have to stop and forage a little bit. So you really will be making a difference. And I think the whole planet, imagine if we all did our own little patches and we made a patchwork of the entire planet with, little bits all over the place, that the bees and the butterflies and the caterpillars and the spiders and the beetles. Beetles are terribly important, and flies. Flies are exceptional pollinators, and there are thousands of species of flies. Flies are terribly, terribly important. If we didn't have flies, we'd be up to our armpits in manure. So don't be mean to flies. Definitely don't be mean to flies. But I do understand there's somebody here earlier who said to me that they don't mow their garden. It was you, Veronique. Yeah. And they just leave it wild. And that's all very well, but your neighbors can be a problem. They really can. Mine are a bit rude. They often say to me, Nikki, when is your car coming? When are you getting a car? So the suburbs are an issue. Neighbors, it can be an issue. So what we've done in where I live, and it's been adopted in quite a few places now where I go, we mow paths through the grass, so the lawn. So there used to be a big lawn. Now we just mow a path and we let everything just grow and just see what happens and what comes up. And it's actually quite incredible what comes up. The first year, of course, is just weeds. By the next year, there actually are some indigenous plants coming back and some grasses and all sorts of things. It's magic. So just to explain to the neighbors what we're doing, I've made lots of these signs. I'll just show you. Ta-da! Oops. So it says, this is a wildlife-friendly pollinator garden. And I think I use the word pollinator because people do understand about pollinators. If you go bee-friendly or butterfly-friendly, it all just sounds a little bit fairy-like. So I think they do understand what that is. And this just explains to those neighbors who are determined to mow their lawns. We call them grass holes, by the way. And then, yeah. And it just sort of sets the intention and tells people you're not just a lazy gardener. Because nobody wants to be the disruptor in their street. You want to fit in. It's the way it is. So if you just start, and literally with your verge would be just incredible. But you don't really have grass here on your verges. You don't seem to. Nobody seems to have grass. You just have paving and a few plants. Do you have grass? Okay, yeah. And unless you're on a corner and you're blocking off all the, so nobody can see where they're driving, then it's a bit dangerous. But otherwise, you can just let it just grow up and just see what happens. It's really very exciting. Yeah. So I've picked a whole lot of plants. And did anyone else bring some weeds that they are curious about, that they want to know? You might as well use me while I'm standing here. Yeah. And so if you've got anyone, like if you've got a Zimbabwean or Malawian person near you, or someone from the Eastern Cape, honestly, that's treasure. You just ask them. They will know so much. So when I was fortunate, I lived on a farm and I was already on this local path. I was a locavore. And then there were 2 ladies came to live there from Lesotho. And they were absolutely incredible what they knew. And they'd show me all sorts of different things. And they'd show me, this is Sabitsa. This is my favorite. And it was quite hysterical because they couldn't speak Zulu because they just come from Lesotho. And my Zulu is not really brilliant. So I don't really, and they couldn't do any English or anything. So I'm not sure how we figured it all out, but we just tasted and picked. And I was amazed because they had favorites. It was like, this is my favorite, and this is my grandmother's favorite. I'm like, I was just so astonished. But was fortunate. I had books and Instagram and all these things, so I could learn lots more than they could, because they just learned what Granny told them. Because obviously Granny wants to keep everybody safe, and if you live over the hill in Lesotho, there's no way you can't get to a hospital or anything. So you just limited. You're not going to be adventurous and just try everything, as I do. Very cavalier. Even drinking Joburg water. Yeah. But the one thing they said to me, which I found very interesting, was that you mustn't pick things when they're flowering. And I thought, no, this is ridiculous. It's food, let's not be fussy. Let's just eat it. But then the more I thought about it, I realized when plants go to flower and eventually to seed, of course, they put all their energy into the flowering part, so the leaves won't have all the nutrients anymore. So it makes perfect sense. But Granny's not really going to explain scientifically how this all works. She's just going to send them out to forage, and she doesn't want them to waste their time picking things that are not their best nutrition. So she just would, say, don't pick when they're flowering. And so they would just pick the raw one. So, the knowledge, I really believe we all have this knowledge. It's in your bones. You just got to jiggle it up, and you will remember quite quickly. And I know when people come on my foraging walks, you don't have to learn lots, but people maybe learn 3 things out of the dozen or so that we found. But almost always, a few people tell me stories. They say, I remember my aunt used to make a tea out of that, or my nanny used to cook this, or people have all sorts of different stories, and they all start to remember. And I really believe once you start remembering just 1 or 2 things, it'll lead to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I think we must, it's actually almost a duty now. We've got to gather the strings of this knowledge before it's too late, because we are going to need it. I think we all accept, if we don't know where our food is coming from, the people who are in charge of the food are completely in charge of us and control us entirely. So if we can start to disrupt the system a little bit by not buying so many fresh greens anymore, that'll make quite a big impact. And never mind not buying it, if we can stop them digging up, ploughing up more places to grow Swiss chard, when dandelions and gallant soldier are far more nutritious than than Swiss chard, and they are growing on your verge. So I think, you're obviously rebels, that's why you're here. And you've got a question about something, haven't you? Okay, would you bring them here, because I've got to speak in the microphone. Thanks, Kate. Okay. Yeah. Oh, just give it to me in my hand. Oh, yum! This is a delicious. I hope this is this one. Let me tell. No, I'm sorry. It's not really edible. Has this got little white flowers on? Yeah, I can see them. Okay, so it's a little cotula. It just doesn't taste like very much. I don't think it's going to kill you, but it isn't much. But there's something that's very similar to that is sort of a pepperweed, a swine cress, very similar looking leaves, which is delicious. This, yeah.
If it doesn't kill you, does it make you stronger?
Absolutely, yeah. I always say on my weed walks, nobody's actually ever died on one of my walks before. But Yeah, not yet. Okay, well, you adding that, not me. Okay, and this is Ornithica rosea, which is evening primrose family. This is evening primrose. It's got the little pink flowers, and it's not really edible, but it is used medicinally, but I can't remember what for. So same as evening primrose would. But you could eat those flowers, perhaps, put them in salads. Oh, and this is delicious. This is chickweed. So come and eat this. This is fabulous. But you better eat it because you brought it. Oh, pulling it out of your lawn today. It tastes of baby mealies. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah. I don't think I've got any. I'll just have a look here. I mean, obviously that's an old and muddy, gritty little bit, but if you look behind, it grows in lovely, damp, shady places, and it's really full of nutrition, and particularly boron. I don't know what boron's for, but it does sound important. Do they? Okay. And what do they call it something different? They call it chickweed, yeah. Oh, no, that's delicious. Completely delicious, yeah. Mm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Kate, this will blow your mind. Just have a taste of this. This is fleabane. Just pick off a little leaf and maybe pass it around. Other people can grab it. Yeah. That's called fleabane. Fleabane. Coniza sumatriensis. Yeah. It's so spicy. It's really, it's spicy and salty and tangy and lemony and garlicky. It's just got everything in it. So I use that with avocado or in a hummus or something like that. Or even just to cook in a stew, just a whole lot chopped up. Look, that's a bit of a manky old one that I just picked around the corner here. I should have thought to pick a better one. But anyway. This is also one. This is called? Fleabane. But these are not good specimens. So, if you're not thrilled, that's fine. Just try it again. You want to pick it when has anyone got my book? Just open. It's alphabetical. Open on F. It says fleabane. And then you'll see a picture of a nice soft one. Really? Is that how you expect a weed to taste? And then look what I found just down the road here in this parky thing. What do you call this open area? Has it got a name? Yeah. Which one? Mel Park. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. So there's a pepper tree, one of these invasive pepper trees. And these are what pink peppercorns are, but they're just growing. So you can go to Woolies if you like and buy it. Yeah, just along the road. And this is gorgeous as well. I'm going to hand around some of these because just smell the leaf. Just pick off a leaf. Don't eat it. It doesn't taste nice to chew on, but the fragrance is gorgeous. So you just want to infuse things with it. Like I infuse yogurt or I add it in pickle mixtures or infuse gin, something like that. I do it in a pestle and mortar rather because it could clog up your grinder, I think. But this is interesting. I mean, normally I don't find this.
I'm interested in those peppercorns. Can you actually eat them?
Yes, you can. Oh, you've got peppercorns there. Let me bring some peppercorns over here.
Thank you. Can I eat one now?
Yeah. Well, it's the outside that you really want to eat. The inside is quite hard and really quite a harsh flavor. It's got a botanical name, I'm sure. That crusty little bit.
Can you grind it?
Well, I just use a pestle and mortar, and I make it very, very rough. But it's lovely if you add that into yogurt or, to make an infused yogurt. Yeah, it's very alive. It makes your mouth absolutely zing. Yeah.
Ordinary flat
Yes, of course you could. Yeah. You just go. I don't know how well to grind. I think it's maybe a bit moist, and it would mess up your grinder. But I can't promise. You just got to experiment. Yeah. Does anybody want to ask about something else that they're curious about? Yes, Didi.
With the blackjack, you only eat the leaves, like you can't do anything with the seeds that
Okay. Yeah, you mostly eat the leaves. Yeah. So it's called ukadolo, where I come from. And it's used a lot as a relish. So just like isheb, or cooked with tomato, chili, garlic, onions, that sort of thing. Really, really nice. I don't like blackjack raw much. I prefer it cooked. But it's interesting, in the Wits garden this morning, in the Wits car park, not the garden. Car parks are fantastic. The Woolies car park often has a hell of a lot of food in it. We found a lot of blackjack. It was all purple, little tiny purple ones, because of the frost and the cold and the dry. And so, when things are cold and dry, they usually become more red. And everybody loved it. They thought it was a very interesting flavor. So, you develop your palate according. I think everything is delicious now, but we have to accept our palates are compromised by salt and sugar, and we have such a limited range of food we eat. I mean, if you add up what you eat brinjal, broccoli, cows, potatoes. I mean, really, you get to 50 things. Or maybe 100, you won't. And we should be eating 50 different things in a week. So as you kind of taste a few crazy things, and your palate just starts to enjoy different flavors more. So blackjack, I prefer cooked, but it's used a lot in tea. And nowadays, it's being used as an anti-cancer treatment because it's very high in anti-inflammatory compounds. So it's used commonly, and you can use the seeds in the tea as well. Yeah. And I have seen one very trendy foraging chef flash fry those seeds and use them as a garnish. But I was glad I wasn't eating that, because I couldn't really imagine. Yeah, I think the sticky bit probably fell off, and just the stickiness is the device for moving it around. Then just the little seed would be left. Yeah. Anyway, what about you? Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I saw in your book, and I mentioned it to a few friends, and we all had the same story.
Yeah.
Definitely stay away from the wild strawberry. It's going to kill you. So my question is, and I'm still a bit too nervous to try it, but how would you cook it?
Oh, just nibble it. Because people are afraid. They are just afraid, and your mother's trying to keep you safe. And her mother told her that. It's funny, that wild strawberry story I just get endlessly. Every single time, the same story. It's crazy. They don't taste like very much. They sort of have a melanish sort of watery taste. But the pop of color on your salad is just unbelievable, or as a garnish on a canapé. And this is it. I mean, let's just stop buying edible flowers in plastic punnets. This is just to decorate things. This just does seem very crazy to me. So if you can just use those to jazz up your salad, or, that's them. Yeah. Yes, Didi again.
if you could only have one food in your garden,
Oh, dandelions. I don't know. I just love them. I've got a beautiful one that grows right outside my kitchen door, off the back step, and everyone who visits me just treads on her, squashes her endlessly, and then I just go and love her back and pick off all the broken bits, and she's just so beautiful. I mean, they flower all year long. They are so, so good for you. Delicious. The young leaves are absolutely delicious. I sometimes cut just below the surface so all the leaves are still attached. Like that. sort of thing. And then you can put that in a little flour mixture and fry it, and you get like these little octopusy things. Gorgeous. The flowers are lovely. You cut just below just below the leaves, where the leaves come out, so that they're all attached to each other. Between the root and the leaves. Yeah. And then put it in flour and then fry it. Yeah.
Is there anything out there that looks like a dandelion but isn't?
Yeah, there are things, because you just think yellow flowers are dandelions. Like this, for instance.
I'm just terrified of poisoning myself.
No, you're not going to poison yourself. Okay, so people, you might think this is a dandelion or this is a dandelion. Can you see? Okay. So this one is wild lettuce. Okay, so you see it's a multiple inflorescence. A dandelion is always a single stem. Always a single stem with one yellow flower on top. And at the moment, all of them are about this far off the ground. The yellow flowers are right at the ground. So this is wild lettuce, multiple. Same sort of flower. This is sow thistle. Same sort of flower, this yellow flat flower, but you can see sow thistle. I mean, look, it does also multiple inflorescence, and you can see it's very different. Yeah. And dandelions have a hollow stem, so they are the original eco straw. There we go. I found two just in the car park here, so I'll just pick it off. So if anybody wants to, I'll pass it around, and you can all have a suck or whatever. Just check it out. You don't have to suck it. So kids just love that. If you're having a picnic, or then they send them off to pick their own straws, and they just absolutely love that. That's so much fun. And so all parts of the dandelion are useful. And the flowers, I just love it. The petals, the outside petals, all reflect UV light, and the center of the flower absorbs it, so to guide the pollinators. Oh, darling, it's just so adorable. It's just beautiful. I mean, and the shape of the leaves is just spectacular as well. The shape is gorgeous. I mean, I'm very into the shapes, and when you make a salad, it is so, so beautiful. If you look on the front, Didi, won't you hold my book up? That's just, no, the other one. That was just my lunch on the front there. That is lunch. You can't see the plate. There's only one little, because we made the picture, we stretched the picture big, obviously. But there's one little place you can see the plate through. But it's just those shapes are just remarkable. And so you've got such a beautiful salad. And you can use the root of dandelion as well. The root is often dried and ground, and then it's used to make like a tea or a coffee substitute, it's a bit like chicory. Yeah. And very, very healing, and it's a diuretic. So I think you need diuretics if you've got high blood pressure or heart problems. So it just got powerhouse of nutrients. If you start Googling dandelion, you go down a rabbit hole that you'll be down for a week. It just is unbelievable. And it's got lots of, I think it originates in Europe, so there's a lot of kind of ancestral wisdom around dandelion and stories, and yeah, it's very precious. Yes, sir.
How have you grown your knowledge of nutritional value of weeds? Is it trial and error, or do you work with someone? How do you do that?
Yeah, you just learn things as you go along. So, yeah, and I looked it up. I mean, I used the internet and looked in books. Yeah. To learn. I mean, I don't actually know that it's got vitamin A. I've just read that it's got vitamin A. I mean, how would I know? I would have to do scientific tests or something to determine that. So I'm just going on common knowledge. And if people are using it anecdotally, that's very interesting. I think we all realize medicine, the anecdotes actually have value. So that's how I've learned. And I always say, if you live long enough, you have to learn something. Yes, sir.
I see that you've got an amaranth, purple
Yes.
amaranth stalk and behind. And I've only just but in Joburg, these grow really, really big. And they've got quite big leaves. Purple. Yeah. And they just grow wild. And anything sort of purple like that, just pick the leaves off and you cook it like spinach. Fantastic.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's just green sort of material. It's not fantastic. It's just normal.
It's fantastic. Gosh. So these leaves are they've got so much protein in them. They've got more protein than any other plant leaf available to humans. Yeah. They are really crammed. This is kind of one of those save the planet type foods. It grows everywhere and it really is a powerhouse of protein, and it's got lots of seeds. If we shake this, lots and lots of seeds will fall out. I don't know if you can see the tiny little black seeds. So you can buy this in the health shop. You can buy little sacks of amaranth seeds with pleasure. But why would you when it's literally growing absolutely everywhere? Yeah, and my favorite thing about amaranth, it's become resistant to glyphosate. They can't spray it anymore. They've tried, so it's now developed its resistance. And I think that just illustrates, we think we can control everything, but we absolutely can't. And the more we try, they're going to outwit us. And then what are we going to do? So there it is. We might as well eat it. And when it's young, this is, of course, a very, very old one. Young, if you snap off the top, this little bit at the top, when it's only about that long, and steam it, it tastes just like broccoli. Yeah. So I'll come back next year and check at all the different dishes you've made with this. One of my favorite ways is with onions and chilies and tomatoes, and then you kind of do a stir fry, and then at the end you put a big tablespoon of peanut butter in and stir that around, and it gets all gooey. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah. So do you recognize this? Most people do. Good. And there's a green one. Well, there are actually lots. But you'll notice this one and the green one, and there's a green one growing along your path as well. Yeah.
So of that, you can eat the leaves, the stems.
The young stems, I suppose. Yeah. I think that this stem is used as fiber. I mean, it's properly fibrous. I mean, so it could be used as fiber. Yeah.
The buds or the flowers, are they purely decorative, or can you ingest those too?
Yes, the little ones. These are old now, so they will just taste very fibrous. So this is a flower arrangement one now. But when they're young, definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, if I think I've literally found a dozen things in 10 minutes over the road here. And so I'm hoping that Kate suddenly values this place over the road a little bit more. You just think it's a scrap of land. It's a bit of a mess. People throw broken bottles there. But all of a sudden, you do start to value places that you never ever thought about before. Yeah. And like that little gully or the top of the Yukske or whatever, And I think that's important because we mustn't dismiss these patches of our earth. They are precious. Yeah. Anybody else got a question? Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything about buckwheat that's edible?
No. I mean, Ramaran pigeons love it. They love the seeds because, like fast food, very easy for them to eat. But that's really quite a dreadful thing because they're meant to be eating Octobulata seeds, which is the black sinkwood, which is really endangered. But they can't be bothered with the fuss of eating those seeds anymore. So they just eat buckwheat. So there are no Octobulata seedlings coming up. But bit of a mess. But they're using now, bugweed is being trialed in lots of anti-cancer treatments or cancer treatments. So I've just heard that recently a few months ago. So let's wait and see. It would be good if we could do something with it. But the other thing is, remember, we are living in a time now where there's a lot of carbon in the atmosphere, and that favors broadleaf plants. So things like bugweed, broadleaves, will just be absorbing masses of carbon, whereas grasses are not. So grasses are struggling because they evolved in a low carboniferous period. So maybe the bugweeds are just absorbing carbon. I mean, maybe that's their job. How do we know? How do we know what the earth wants to do? We just think we know. But yeah, so I mean, look, I also removed bugweed from my garden. I have to admit, I don't like that particularly. Because it makes you itch and it gets so big and it shades everything out. But it is a pioneer plant. You see, it's a pioneer. So if you just left bugweed and just saw what happened, maybe you'd get forest back in the end. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not taking that chance. But, you know, I just think we don't really understand what nature's doing. We just think we do. So keep an eye on bugweed in terms of, type it into your internet search engine, bugweed plus cancer, and see what comes up. I haven't actually gone into it myself, so I don't know much about it. I just read it. Yeah. Okay. You sick of me now? Okay. So shall I tell you one of my other favorites? Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I do. Like oleander, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, all those things people plant in their gardens are hectically poisonous. So, I've never come across anything that is really poisonous. I once ate too many daylily buds and it made me very sick. And then I did more research and I discovered that some people react badly to daylily buds. And that happened to be me. And now if I walk past a patch of daylilies, I feel quite ill. But they are a delicacy in Japan, an absolute delicacy. So, you know, you must work out what your constitution can handle. The thing that I think is the superpower here is that you're not going to eat a whole bucket of something you don't know. You're going to try a little bit, and if it burns your mouth or it makes you feel queasy, tastes horrible, you're going to give up. You're not going to persevere and eat so much. Because all of these are high in oxalic acid. So that's not really good for you to have too much oxalic acid. Bad for your kidneys. It also prevents calcium being absorbed. But kale is full of oxalic acid. Kale is jammed with it. And people just inhale kale. You know, so like we blame morning glory and blackjack for having too much oxalic acid. Or oxalis, which is also one of my other favorites, Didi. Oh, I'm making a hell of a mess in the shop. So there we go. You can pass it around and have a little taste. It's very lemony. Oxalis, yeah.
Where does it grow?
Dampish places, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
You could use oleander or something.
No, that's really poisonous. Saying you see, we plant oleander, but it's very, very poisonous. Yeah. There is a book, Poison Plants of the World. Do you sell that? Yeah, that poisonous plants. But it's also funny. Even that book says it's used as medicine for this or this. And I'm like, what the hell? But I think we know food and medicine, or medicine and poison, is often very, very close. It's all about dosages, yeah. What are you going to ask? Yeah. 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 I'd taste one of these. I bet you it's this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because it probably just grew bigger. There's different varieties. So this is lemony, very lemony, full of vitamin C. I think it's delicious. And so when the colonists arrived here in South Africa, there were no lemons, and they were used to using souring agents in their food. And they learned from the indigenous people to add this. So if you look up in the old recipes of Waterblommetjie breedie, it uses suring or this is oxalis or oxalis. The plant doesn't know its name, so we're just guessing. But so, I mean, use it to add that depth of flavor to things. You can cook with it. I like to use it on fruit salad, because then on fruit salad it is a bit sweet and gives that pop. It makes a very nice lemonade as well, which I think the recipe's in my book. Yeah. Kate, have we run out of time? Yes, okay. Run out of time, guys. And I stood still for 30 minutes.